Hello friends. Today I had delivered a webinar on importance of coding with respect to DevOps and Scrum practice to one of the prestigious institution in Tamil Nadu. So as promised, I will be uploading the abstract of what I spoke in that particular webinar in our YouTube channel, and since the abstract has been recorded in third person point of view, I couldn't pay complete attention to this video and just you can hear what I spoke as part of that webinar. Welcome to Online Hub 360. This is your channel. Good evening to all. I'm happy to see many bright names popping in front of my screen. I would have loved to have this session in person, but we are already hit by a worst pandemic, so we are forced to move virtually. And this is the new normal, right guys? So for this time, we can go virtually. Nowadays, each and every organizations will have a continuous improvement plan, and they will be recruiting candidates based on how energetic they are and how they are responding to the situations. And even when we are going for recruiting, we have some parameters to judge the students. Basically some 2 to 3 parameters based on which we will be judging the students. First, we will be searching that how smart they are responding to the solutions, and that is what the first parameter we see. Next, we go ahead and see what is the attitude of the particular student. If you have a good attitude coupled with good knowledge, then that's a welcome move for us. So that plays a major role in selecting a candidate. So what will the third skill means? The communication. Communication is a major part which we take care while we recruiting the candidate. Believe me guys, we have nearly lakhs and lakhs of engineering students passing out each and every year. But how many of them are industry ready? Only we have some 2 to 3% engineers who are industry ready and who are ready to take up an IT job. That is the worst scenario of our country. Not because they don't have talents, but mainly they don't have the enough skills to display the talents, enough communication skills to display the talents. Here, don't panic whether the communication plays a major role in getting a job or not. Even I am from some southern tip of Tamil Nadu. Even though I studied in English medium, I faced a lot of challenges in upskilling my communication. While entering into IT industry, even I was not able to communicate well what I thought. But over the period of time, I slowly improved my communication skill, and now I'm here. So communication is not such that you need to speak rich English and you need to be still enough to project what you think. But basically, if you can able to communicate what you think in a perfect and easy and simple manner, that is what we look out for fresh minds. So all this plays a major role in selecting a new fresher candidate for any organization, and even we follow the same logic. Out of all this, we need some basic programming knowledge and some coding knowledge, some basic subject knowledge that needs to be driven as part of our recruitment process. And as I already see here, many people have eagerly attended the coding seminars and coding classes and participating in hackathon. So this easily symbolizes that you are very much interested in getting into an IT industry, and that is why you all are here. And definitely, we have many coders here, many developers here who form the future of any IT industry. But coding is definitely the heart of any IT industry. For getting a job in IT industry, we need a basic coding knowledge, a basic logic to apply, and basic communication skills. These are the mandatory skills that we need to upskill ourselves in delivering any process. This coding may be any of the programming languages. We need to automate a process. You may use Java, you may use C#, you may use Python, anything can be used. We don't want to stick to a particular language and we need to write a code in that particular language alone. You can just switch over whatever the code, whatever the language that is easy for you, you can learn that and you can implement that. So for that, you don't need to have a elaborate knowledge on how the coding process is done, and advanced coding techniques are not mandatory at this point of time. So we have to have what are the basic logic that we need to display for getting a job, at least to fetch a ticket to the IT industry. So that really matters. So here I have some 5 to 6 points of coding process, or to take part in any IT industry or to learn any new coding process. Syntax plays a major role in every programming language. We know the coding is important, but how efficiently we need to code, it is completely based on syntax. Like we always say, every successful businessman or every successful person have a same flashback. Similarly, each and every programming language have more or less the same syntax. So syntax plays a major role in deriving any coding language. So you don't need to take care of all the syntax at a time. First start with some basic file handling operations and start to learn how to move a file from one place to other, how to delete a file, how to rename a file, then followed by loops and case statements. So this will be the starting point of every programming language. And if you need to excel in any programming language, first you should get your basics strong, and that basics is nothing but the syntax. So this is the first point that we need to discuss here. Second point, in starting every coding process, you need to understand what is the problem statement and how we need to provide a solution to the problem statement. So deriving a solution always has some logic. So that logic is driven by whatever the thing you understand and whatever the idea you implement in creating a code. Even the much celebrated Elon Musk is once a programmer, once a coder. He started building his small game to implement his programming skills. Now he's controlling the Tesla, he's creating supercars and hyperloops. So everything starts with the basic understanding of problem statement. For example, if you're lying in a bed and if you need to switch on the fan, the first step you need to take is you need to get off the bed and you need to move towards the distance and switch on the fan. So that is the preliminary process. This is your problem statement, and the main purpose is to automate this process. So take the simple problem statement. So how we can resolve this problem? By using some remote control systems and switching on the fan from wherever you are there. So now we have the concept called AC, air conditioners work on that principle. And this problem statement have definitely a solution, and that leads to Internet of Things. For example, if you have a large chunk of data, you need to store in a particular place. You cannot have all the files stored in your personal computer alone. You need to store it in somewhere. That is where database concept comes into play. And evolving that, we also have artificial intelligence, machine learning. Everything is based on the process of coding only. So one thing leads to the other. So that is the main important point of this logic. So the simple point to understand is you need to convert the problem statement into a solution, and you need to derive a logic on how to do that. Right, guys? So this forms the second important point of what we need to discuss. So the third point that what we need to discuss is you need to understand the codes of other coders. Each and every coders have own way of implementing their logic, right? So we need to understand in what logic they are implementing their code. We have large repositories like Stack Overflow, GitHub, and we have codes of n number of coders all around the world. If you are thinking of a logic, say if you are thinking of a logic to write a program to display the odd or even numbers in your list. So you are writing a program in Python scripting, for example, and you can check the codes of other coders and how they written the code and what logic they applied the code. So that forms the basic of every programming, and this will help to fine-tune your code to a greater extent. So merely writing your code on your own knowledge will give you the skills of coding, but to enhance that skill, you need to listen to other coders. This is the important point of collaborative working, and you need to understand what logic they have done that. So understanding the codes of other coders is a third important point that we need to discuss. So next and the most important point is don't stick to a particular programming language. You may be good at Python, but your friend may be good at Java. So if you are writing a program to display your logic in Python scripting, ask your friend to implement the same logic and to write the same program in Java language. On each and every step, you and your friend have a discussion on what they written, on what logic they apply. So this eventually leads to a complete collaborative work. So at the end of the line, you will be also written a program in Python script, and also your friend will be completing the same program in JavaScript. And after a discussion, at the end of the process, what wonders it have done means you will be learning JavaScripting and your friend might have learned Python. That is the biggest strength of collaborative work. And you may end up in learning two different programming languages, and which language is suitable for you, you can take that language to the next level. So this forms the fourth important point. And fifth point and the last point what I wish to say is, you have learned all the skills in programming. you have learned all the skills in coding practice. But until you implement your knowledge will definitely never enhance. So for that, what we need to do? We need to try building our projects on our own. At the starting itself, don't try and write a program to build a rocket or an aeroplane. Start with a small piece of code. Start with a one-liner code. First, you write a code to move a file from one place to another. Next, if you succeeded in that particular scripting, then try moving 10 different files to 10 different locations. And that is how we evolve. So at the end of the line, you will be able to create a project on your own without any hesitation and without any bottlenecks. So this important point is what we need to take care of while we learn a program. These 5 points constitute the core of any programming languages, and if you're strong in these 5 programming languages, then it will do wonders in your career. And it is definitely good to have coding knowledge in your profile, and it will always reach more extent. So, and I also have a bonus point for you, and all of you guys have already into that point. Yes, participating in this kind of coding contest is definitely a welcoming move. You try and attend more hackathons, more coding contests, and try exploring more and more possibilities in enhancing your skill, and really that will do wonders. And don't wait for colleges alone to call for this kind of coding contest or hackathons. You can try it online also. We have many such online tools to enhance our knowledge, to participate in hackathons like CodeChef we have and HackerDeaths we have. You can try and build a project and submit over there. Get rejected first, get failed, and eventually in the process you will get success. And not that you alone should participate in the program. You form a team, you collect your friends, you gather your friends, discuss on a particular concept, share your knowledge, and for a single competition, any one of you represent the competition and try winning the competition. First, we'll be getting a lot of rejections, because the rejections are what we are intended to get, and it is definitely the stepping stone for success. So eventually, your complete team will be able to code efficiently. Your complete team will be able to handle any projects without any difficulties. And imagine all of your team working in the same organization. Definitely your college days will be getting back. So that is the power of collaborative work. And even every organization demands collaborative work in this modern era. If you are a coder, we have no use of having the raw codes alone in our repositories, and it doesn't produce any values. And we cannot deliver the raw codes to any of our customers. We don't have any values for that. So we need to fit into your process. We need to fit into your practice. We need to have a practice of collaborative with your colleagues and work on efficiently bringing the project to next level. So that is where DevOps comes into picture. So DevOps is a common practice which collaborates between development team and operation team. And now this is the most sought after job in IT industry. This DevOps engineer can work on the coding process also. He can work on testing team also. He can work on requirements team. Even he is comfortable with cloud and infrastructure management too. So that is the main essence of this DevOps practice. You randomly go to any IT industry's profile and surf to the career section, and in the keyword part just give DevOps. At least 99% of IT companies have this opening, and for the next 5 years this domain is going to rule the IT industry along with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and for everything the base is coding. So here I can give you a small gist on what is DevOps and how your coding practice gets fit in over there. For this, I have some 8 different steps, and I'll explain each steps and what is mandatorily needed for you to enhance the skill in that steps. I'll just give you a gist, but not an in-depth overview. Since we have just a webinar kind of thing, we'll just give you an overview of what we need to understand as part of DevOps practice. The first part is planning. We always know, right? Planning is definitely very much important for any process. So for DevOps practice, the first part is planning. You need to plan what needs to be delivered to the customer, what is customer requirements, what we can get from them, what we need to give them, what value we can provide to them. So everything will comes under the planning section. So we need to plan which project needs to be executed at which point of time and which team will be executing that project. And what are the tools that is needed, what are the resources we need, and how to complete the project to execute the project to the final stage. Everything is decided on this planning session. If you are good at negotiation, if you are good at planning, if you are able to manage Excel kind of documents and text documents, then this place is yours. You can be a requirement engineer, you can be a planning engineer in IT industry. It is the starting point of every project life cycle. So once this planning is done, the next is the execution part. So while we talk about the execution, the important point is coding. We need to code to complete the project. We need to code to deliver the project. You can use any programming language. Predominantly Java is widely used in every IT industries, followed by C# and Python. So coding forms the second important point in DevOps practice, and developers like you, coders like you, fall into this category. And we have already discussed the essence of coding. So I will be comfortably moving to the next point, that is building an application. Say building an application means we'll be getting lot of raw codes from the developers. Developers will be simply writing a 100 lines of 1000 lines of code and delivering it to the next level. And here the build team have the responsibility to store these codes, because mere sending the codes in email doesn't help us. So we need to have a repository to store these codes. So build team will create a repository in any of the source code management tools and stores all the source codes here in a separate folder. Then the build team will create a small script. Here also coding comes into play. You can write the script in any of the language, maybe Groovy, Ant or Maven. So lots of tools are there for building the codes. So we need to write a simple logic to build a code, to compile the code, and to make the code as a package. So this package provides some value, right? And this value can be deployed to the server, right? So at this point, the fourth team comes into play, that is the deployment team. So the build team will give us lots and lots of code, huge chunks of code, and we have n number of jars and vars to be deployed to the server. And once we deploy to the server only, it will be displayed in the live environment, right? So for that, we have deployment team who will be writing deploy scripts. We can write in any language. Usually XML scripting and shell scripting will be very useful, and also Groovy can be used to automate the scripts. So this is called as continuous integration and continuous delivery, CI/CD, and the delivery of this software codes in a pipeline manner will be taken care by the deployment team. And this deployment team, we have some 0 servers or 1 server or 1000 servers. So we need to write a logic to deploy every code to the respective servers, maybe whatever flavors you use. You may have Linux, you may have Windows, anything, but we need to write a logic to deploy this particular code to any of the servers. And here also we require coding. So if you have basic scripting knowledge, and if you are not well versed in scripting and you are not equipped to have lots and lots of advanced scripting, basic scripting knowledge if you have, it will help you to get a job in build and deployment domain. Usually build and deployment goes in hand to hand. So if you are equipped with basic scripting knowledge, and this place is yours, you can be a build engineer or deployment engineer. So all the deployed codes will pass through certain stages. So we need to test these codes that is deployed in each and every stage. So how the usually flow that will take place is, we will be first deploying the created packages in development environment, and we have some set of servers in development environment. And once this is deployed, here the fifth team comes into play, that is testing team. They will test the development software. They will test for bugs, they will test for errors. And if the code is completely free of errors, then tester will certify that this piece of code can be moved to the next step. This is where testing environment comes into play. So the testers will have a separate testing environment where they will separately deploy the developed and tested codes for their well-being. So they will deploy the codes in their environment, and they'll of course ask the help of the deployment engineer. So we'll deploy the code to the testing servers, and they will do n number of testings, starting with smoke test, integration test, regression test, and user acceptance test, followed by seeded test and more other tests to follow. So they will do the testing one by one, and they will completely analyze each and every lines of code that you have written, and also the build and deploy scripts that you have already written. So at this point of time, once your code passed the testing stage, it will move to the production environment. And to deploy in the production environment, the tested code should be deployed to the production environment. Here, the sixth team comes into play. They are the release management team. So if as a deployment engineer, you want to deploy a code to the production environment, you must have the approval of the release engineer. So what this release engineer does? He will schedule the deployments. He will ask the customers that we are planning to deploy a code in your environment. For example, if you use any of the online services like for internet mobile, net banking, or some book my show kind of applications, at some time we face an issue called server is down, right? This is mainly because that release engineer will request the testing team, require the stakeholders to bring down the server and to display the message that server is down. And once the server is down, the release management team will ask the deployment experts to deploy the tested codes in the production environment. And as a release manager, you need to create a change request. We have a number of tools for that too. And we need to schedule the deployments. We need to have sync with the stakeholders. You need to bring the servers down, and the deployment team will deploy your package to the server. And after deployment, you need to bring the server back to normal state and inform the stakeholders. And this part of code and this piece will be taken care by release management team. So if you are familiar with the release process, and if you are familiar with the release management kind of thing, then this piece is yours. So this 6 points form the core of any DevOps practice, followed by next additional 2 points. They provide the infrastructure and support. So in this case, if we need to provide the infrastructure kind of support, we'll have a separate configuration management team or an operation team. So we will deploy the code in the server. We will have any piece of code that is created. We'll have the tested code. But who will provide us the infrastructure? Who will provide us the connectivity? And where can we get the networking kind of stuffs? So that team and that kind of thing will be taken care by a separate development team or an operation team. So they will create servers, they will install the OS, they will install the required servers in any virtual machines. And nowadays cloud is the most common buzzword that we need to use. So we have Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. So they provide virtual machines or servers to deploy this code, to deploy the images, to create containers. So all the configuration infrastructure related activities will be handled by this operations team. If you are good at cloud computing, if you are good at managing the infrastructure, if you have any CCNA kind of certification or knowledge in networking, then you can take up this trade. And this is the core of DevOps practice, because they provide the infrastructure as a service. So next, all this point are completed. So we need to monitor our deployed codes. So that forms the final and 8th point. So monitoring domain will always check for our deployed code each and every time. They will check for the code once in a while, once in a day, once in a week. So they will check what are the disk usage, how many applications are running effectively, what is the performance metrics, what is the load that the servers are having, so how to implement, how to improve the server loads, how to optimize the build loads. So everything will be taken care by the monitoring team, and it is their responsibility to tell their concerned team if in case of any application failures. So if you are good at some graphical kind of things, or if you are good at creating charts and Excel sheets and maintaining some load balancing kind of techniques, then you can take up the monitoring engineer role. And all this forms the core parts of DevOps practice, right? So while we say about DevOps, we have these 8 important steps that we need to cross, and it cannot be happen once in a day, in a single day. We need to follow through the process. We need to evolve as a DevOps engineer. So for implementing each and every step of this kind, we are having separate tools. Maybe in any of the in-depth sessions, I can explain what are the tools that is need for each and every steps. But now, this is the complete gist of what DevOps is. This comprises the practice that DevOps suggests. So here, how we can fit Scrum model, and we have a topic called Scrum also, right? And how we can fit Scrum here means we have 8 different phases in DevOps, and in 8 different phases we have 8 different teams. 8 different teams working on different modules, and it is the majority use of the Scrum Master, and he should guide the team on which topic he should take. It's predominantly kind of management kind of stuffs. So they will guide the team, they will coach the team in completing the project effectively, starting from planning to monitoring. That is what a Scrum Master does. As a fresher, I won't recommend Scrum Master role to you. Maybe you start your career as a development engineer, or a tester, or a DevOps engineer, or a release engineer. Then over the period of time, you will be evolving yourself as a Scrum Master. Maybe after 5 years of tenure in any IT organization, if you are interested to take up the management role, then Scrum Master is definitely a boon to you. So at this point of time, you should know all the process, starting from DevOps to Agile methodology, and what is Scrum, and how the coding works. Even the industry expects this kind of complete packages from its engineers. And I won't say that in this day, after I give a gist of what is DevOps, you need to completely understand this and come back. Just you need to have an overview. And if you are deployed in any of the organization as a developer, and you need to gather all the bits and pieces, and that will efficiently help you to code based on requirements, and it will definitely remove any impediments. Fine, right? So this is very much important, and this is very much required for every organization, and every organization is expecting this. Fine, right? So let me sum up what we have discussed. To fetch a ticket in any of the IT industry, the first point is you need to have a coding knowledge, and you need to have a good communication skill. Remember guys, this is the place you can decide where your career should take place. This is the place where you can decide your career path. And for the next 20 to 30 years, if you're coming into the IT industry, this is the place where you can decide. And you have mentors with you, you have teachers with you, you have friends with you. So you can discuss with them, and what suits best for you is definitely we can decide in this part of your college tenure. And if you're out of this domain, then you will be left alone, and you need to work on your own. So step by step, you develop a process, develop a strategy, try to implement them. Learn to implement what you learned in your organization or in your institution. So that definitely helps you to fetch a ticket in IT industry. Once you enter the IT industry, you will evolve based on the process. So this is what I have wished to say to you, and this is what I was intended to discuss with you. So take a decision, try learning code, try applying to various hackathons, and that will definitely help you. So that sums up my lecture, and I have given you an overview on what practice we follow. And you can always find the abstract of this speech in my YouTube platform also. I will be publishing the videos separately in Tamil and English also. So in case if you need any reference, you can refer there. And my YouTube channel name is Online Hub 360, and for your reference I will be pinging the code path also. You can definitely have a view on this. So here we have learned something, we had obtained knowledge on something, and the major part starts here. So you can pass it on what you learn to the next generation. I mean, your juniors, or in case of your friends who haven't attended this coding session, just enlighten them, just pass it on. That definitely creates wonders, and that definitely creates the collaborative environment. And in case of any doubts, in case of any clarifications, starting from resume writing to landing in a job interview, have any doubts, you know where to reach me. So with this, I'll complete my lecture. In case if you have any questions, you can ask me one by one. I can take up some 5 to 10 questions if the creators of this meeting accepts, or else you can ask me personally in any of the social media sites.